We are officially less than 2 weeks away from WrestleMania 38. So it's all hands on deck for the last of the build-up for the biggest event on the WWE calendar. Tonight's show continued to showcase feuds that will make up the Mania card. Becky Lynch talked about her brutal attack against Bianca Belair from last week's show. And AJ Styles returned to address his feud with Edge. We also saw Austin Theory take on United States Heavyweight Champion Finn Balor. And Raw Tag Team Champions RK Bro faced Alpha Academy before the two teams step into the ring with the Street Profits in a triple threat match with the Raw Tag titles on the line at WrestleMania. Let's take a look at everything that happened on tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and StreamYard.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Phenom Michael Bullock, fresh off another one of our legendary Raw chats as always. And joining us once again, second time in 3 weeks, the first lady of the Wrestling Forum, the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson, or I should say the first lady of the Talking Wrestling TXN. So we're under a new banner now. It's a banner night here. The first Ridiculously Raw of the Talking Wrestling TXN era. So big night here. So with all that being said, let's move on. Let's get started with this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight, as we were live from the IWC capital of the world, the Allstate Arena, Chicago, Illinois, on the USA Network. And we started it off, we thought, with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Turned out to be Kevin Owens, dressed as Stone Cold Steve Austin. Wow. He delivered a promo as if he was Stone Cold and used all of Austin's popular catchphrases. He even had on a pair of giant knee braces to make everything look authentic. Austin's music hit again. KO pretended to be scared, but he got our hopes up just a little bit, didn't he? Ended up giving one of the ringside techs a stunner after asking him to deliver a beer into the ring. Kevin Owens is always entertaining when he gets a mic in his hand, but this was one of his most entertaining promos in years. He is obviously having a lot of fun with this angle, and that is coming through in his performance. As serious as we can all be about professional wrestling, at the end of the day, it's supposed to be fun. This was fun from start to finish. Notable takeaways: Kevin Owens has joined the list of wrestlers who have impersonated other wrestlers with this segment. It's an exclusive club with the likes of Charlie Haas, Stone Cold Shark Boy, Give Me a Shell, Yeah, and P.D. Williams. The We Want Austin chants were pretty loud, but then again, look where we were. And Kevin Owens missing the two beers that were thrown to him was either intentionally hilarious or one of the best improvised moments ever. So there's no question about it. I mean, you can make an argument. This was the segment of the night. I mean, I don't know what else there is for me to say on this. So good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Kevin Owens, with the IWC crowd in Chicago, got their hopes up just a little bit, didn't he?
Just a little bit? Oh no. Anthony Florio, what he just pulled tonight was one of the most emphatic things you can ever do in professional wrestling. That was a stroke of genius, what he did here tonight. The nuclear heat that he's going to get. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hey, all right, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you guys could hear me or not. I didn't know if I cut it off or not on you guys, but I apologize. But no, this was a thing of beauty. And what Kevin Owens did, I mean, honestly, did all you guys thought, oh my God, Austin's in Chicago at first? I mean, I did. I was like, no way. Austin in Chicago?
What would have happened? What would have happened if he had showed up?
Oh, are you kidding me? Water cooler talking moment of the night. Did anybody know that Austin was going to be in Chicago? No. There was no dirt sheet. There was nothing that said that he was going to be in Chicago tonight. I didn't hear anything leading in that he was going to be in Chicago here tonight. And the next thing we know, Stone Cold Steve Austin in Chicago 2 weeks before WrestleMania. Oh my God, the place would have blown. So here we are thinking, once we heard the music, you saw the reaction from the crowd. They were losing their minds. They were like, oh my God, Austin's here, Austin's here. Nope. Got the proverbial rug pulled out from under them. And even I was telling you guys, I'm like, oh my God, this is bold. This was a bold move by Kevin Owens, a bold move by WWE, and especially to do it in Chicago, Illinois. Ooh, that's so risky, but it worked, and the fans ate it up in a negative way. Nuclear heat for Kevin Owens here tonight. I mean, imagine what it's gonna be like for WrestleMania when he gets to Arlington. Dude, you want to hear about 80 or 90,000 boo birds on him? Ooh, this is gonna be epic. Excellent segment. There's really nothing more to add. One of the top segments of the night. Michael Bullock, it's yours, my friend.
Yeah, you could definitely say that it was definitely a bold move by Kevin Owens and WWE to pull something like this in the IWC capital of the world, Chicago, Illinois. It was risky, but it worked to perfection. I mean, you definitely gave nuclear heat on Kevin Owens. I mean, if you thought him getting booed in Chicago was bad, wait till you get to the home state of Texas come WrestleMania. He is literally going to hear it from them. But anywho, this was worked out to perfection, and to me, I think this was the segment of the night, hands down. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it is yours.
Yeah, this is definitely the segment of the night. This was a great opening way to open the show. Yeah, I mean, you got the nuclear heat, you got the build up, you got the classic, let's come out as the other person using their music and everything, and until they did the close up, everybody pretty much kind of thought Kevin Owens shaved his head, but no, he had that cap on covering his hair. So yeah, it was very well done. Kevin did a great job. So not much more I'm going to say. It's yours, Fletch. Florio.
Hey, we're all excited. That's all there is to say about that. I made a little slip up earlier myself. So hey, you can't help it. We're excited. I mean, it's a very exciting time of the year. We're this close to Mania. This is the penultimate edition of Monday Night Raw this evening. And yeah, what a great way to start it off. First match of the night, our first in-ring match of the night. The Mysterios, Rey and Dominic Mysterio, squaring off against NXT champion Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode, the Dirty Dogs. Winners of the match, 9 minutes and 25 seconds. It was the Mysterios. Dominic with the frog splash in tribute to Uncle Eddie, of course, Eddie Guerrero, on Robert Roode for the 1-2-3. But it was what happened after the match that drew the ire of a certain panelist, and he knows who he is. And he's going to be starting it off in just a moment. MF, we just had some, fun. We just had some big fun with the Kevin Owens Stone Cold team. But what the Miz did to Rey Mysterio, obviously, definitely set off that angry Gorilla Monsoon and JR in.
Oh yeah, this really set me off. Look, you guys know that in Mexico, in Lucha Libre, the mask is very sacred and very important, very valuable to the community, to the world, to that part of the world. It's like religion that you do not take off the mask of a wrestler in Mexico. It is precious. It is lineage. It is tradition. And whenever a wrestler is demasked in any possible way, it's like it's shame. It's almost disgraceful, and it's almost a lack of respect. When one person has to lose their mask to another wrestler, it is it's without a doubt the hardest thing that ever happens to that wrestler, because it's like losing an identity to them. But for the way to, if there ever is a time when a wrestler rips off another man's mask, that is the ultimate disrespect. That is the ultimate villain move, and it is shunned in Mexico. So what we saw here tonight was absolute outrage. I was furious at the moment. You guys know it. Dee Dee Woodson agreed. She's like, Mike, I am 1,000% with you. I was spitting kittens. I was ticked. I was annoyed. I was angry. And quite frankly, man, I wanted blood. And that's exactly what I felt at that moment, because of the fact that, like you said, that's the Lucha Libre in me. That's the AAA. That's the CMLL. That's the Lucha Underground. We know this as, like I said, this is part of that world and wrestling that, we always say that wrestling is indeed actually real, and it is. When it comes to the mask, it's like religion over there with Mexico. They value this. They value it, and it is sacred. And Rey Mysterio is a legend, an icon in Mexico. So for this to happen tonight, this is going to hit front page news in Mexican papers in the morning. And I would not be shocked if The Miz is going to get, and I hate to say this, and I don't want to put it out there, but I'm going to do it because I'm going to be real honest with you. The Miz might get some death threats from the Mexicans because of this. I mean it. And everybody's like, oh no, this is this. No, they take this very seriously. They take this to heart. And what happened here tonight, I would not be shocked if we hear news coming out that he's probably going to need some extra security. And I hope they realize that. So this was a disgraceful moment. The match got overshadowed, unfortunately. This was about 2 to 2.5 stars. But the actions of The Miz, of what he did, and then to assume, and then to have Logan Paul, to say that Logan Paul is going to wear that mask next week, I hope he does not. Because that would be the most utterly disgraceful thing you'll ever see in professional wrestling. And I really mean this. You thought it's bad when Miz took the mask of Rey Mysterio? It will be equally disrespectful and disgusting if that piece of garbage named Logan Paul dons that Rey Mysterio mask next week on Monday Night Raw. I mean it. There's nothing for me to add. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Praise there, Fletch. You definitely spoke big time, but yeah, 2.5 stars, and yeah. When me and Florio, when we had our Raw chat and we saw it, we were like, oh no, The Miz just committed the biggest sin that anybody can do. When you take the mask off
we both said it, but like MF is gonna lose his marbles. He's gonna lose his mind.
And as soon as I saw that, we were like, "Oh damn, Fletch is gonna lose his damn mind," and I don't blame him for 1 second. I mean, you are literally spitting in the face when you take that mask off. You are spitting in the face of all the great lucha libre wrestlers that have. I mean, like you said, Fletch, it's sacred. I mean, think of all the great lucha libre wrestlers that have donned the mask for so long, and you know it. I mean, and think of the Hall of Famer, Mil Mascaris,
La Parca.
current AEW, yeah, Ultimo Dragon. I mean, and the current AEW wrestlers, the Lucha Bros. I mean, so many great names that have donned it. And The Miz just basically took the mask and literally not only insulted Rey Mysterio, but all the great Lucha Libre wrestlers that have donned that sacred mask. It is utterly disgusting. It is utterly disgraceful. And what you pulled, Miz, is absolute bullshit. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, and I hope you are never welcomed into Mexico ever again. And like Fletch said, I would not be surprised if he gets death threats, because they take this whole thing very, very seriously. And now to hear that Logan Paul is going to wear it, if you thought Fletch was fuming this week, he'll be fuming even more next week, because you're going to put it on that piece of shit, Logan Paul. Oh, that is utterly disrespectful, and those Mexicans are going to be coming out for Logan Paul and the Miz's blood, and it's not going to be pretty because of how serious they take this tradition. So, shame on you, Miz, and warning to you, Logan Paul, do not do this, or you are going to get crucified even big time along with your so-called partner, The Miz. So screw you two. I'm done. I'm finished with this. Dee Woodson, Miz has already got a trip to the woodshed, but if Logan Paul wears that, I think he's going to have some company too.
Oh, Logan Paul's already got an appointment. And I'm not alone on that. I have a child who would love to go out in the woodshed with me and take out some frustration on Logan Paul. I mean, what the heck? We don't need that kind of controversy in wrestling. We don't need YouTube stars that think they know what the hell they're doing when they don't. I mean, the only reason I think he's doing this is because, you have Johnny Knoxville promoting his stuff on SmackDown, so we have to have another one on Raw. And we have to pick the worst one out there that everyone hates to be there and team him up with the worst reality / superstar you have.
And Slimeball.
That happens to be from Cleveland, that I would love to whip his butt all the way back to Cleveland and hand him to his dad and say, here, do something with your child, which I probably would have to end up whipping his dad too. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Anyhow, the match, yes, 2 stars, very well done, but very disrespectful. You guys were naming several. You could also say Excalibur, which is the AEW announcer. He wears a mask when he's out there announcing. There's, like you said, a lot of them that's their tradition. That's their it's a sign of respect to not take it off. He disrespected Ray, even though we know wrestle before without it. Once that mask was put back on, you don't take it off. You don't disrespect that culture. And, that was just a big slap in the face. And I'm with Flesh. That was probably the worst thing they could have done. And giving it to that YouTube idiot is going to be, just the icing on the cake to get a even more bigger beat down whenever it comes down to it. So I'm not going to say too much more because I don't want to get too big into a rant. So it's yours, Florio.
I'll sum it up for all of us. What Miz did tonight, I pray to God never happens again. If I had it my way, it would never happen again. Because what he did tonight was dangerous. It was inconsiderate. And most of all, it was damn insulting. Not only to myself, Didi, and Bullock, but especially to good old MF Michael Fletcher and anyone. And not just MF, not just to the Mysterios, but to anybody of that culture and anybody who has ever worn a mask as a Lucha Libre professional. Those names we just mentioned, Mil Mascaras, La Parca, Psychosis, and the Lucha Bros, and all these other Lucha Libre legends. Damn insulting. Yeah, payback's a you-know-what. That's all there is to say there.
Oh, something like this just really pisses me off. And where's that Undertaker shovel? Because I got a spot in Death Valley for those two ingrates.
Yeah, no doubt about that. 2.5 to 3 here. The match was fine, even though the only mystery regarding the outcome from Miz being at ringside. Miz pulling Ray's mask off drew tremendous heat. So there is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And all right, now we got some reality here. Now it's back to reality here. We got some cutouts here, so hang tight, folks. We had Omos squaring off against Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Omos wins the match in 2 minutes and 45 seconds. And Omos cuts a little promo after the match, and some dirt sheets came out today that WWE is considering having Omos in a singles match at WrestleMania, and the proposed opponent they have in mind, barring medical clearance, is the almighty Bobby Lashley. There would be some shaking if that goes down. No question about it. So we'll just leave it there. Then we had the phenomenal AJ Styles coming out in Chicago, and he cuts his promo. He calls out Edge, gets interrupted by Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins baited him in, and then Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville made it official. In the main event tonight, Seth Rollins, this would be his last chance for a WrestleMania payday here. Seth Rollins one-on-one with AJ Styles. If Seth Rollins beats AJ Styles, we get a renewal of the Seth Rollins Edge rivalry that captivated all of us last summer and into the fall. That legendary trilogy of matches those two had. The SummerSlam at Allegiant in Las Vegas, the SmackDown in Madison Square Garden, and of course the Hell in a Cell in Saudi Arabia in October. So, that's what happened there. And I'll say it like this. It was interesting to hear Seth Rollins respond to the crowd's Cody chants for the first time, because you heard the Cody chants. There wasn't much mystery regarding the outcome of last week's match involving Rollins and Owens. There's even less with Rollins and Styles. But despite this unnecessary way to get to it, Rollins and Owens had an entertaining match, and Rollins and Styles just as much are going to have one. So that's really all there is to say there. Then from there, we had a women's tag team matchup. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley squaring off against Shayna Basler and Natalya. Shayna Basler and Natalya win the match 3 minutes and 55 seconds. And, well, what happened here, earlier in the show, there was a backstage segment, a backstage moment with Carmella and Queen Zelina, and they had a blow up. They imploded. They ended up getting into a fight. They ended up fighting each other backstage. And then during the match, Carmella comes out all butthurt. So butthurt that she had to go to you-know-who, Corey Graves, of course. But it turned out to be a ruse because Queen Zelina came out, laid out Rhea Ripley, and then Carmella gets involved, and she got some payback there. She got involved, and well, they laid out Shayna, Natalya, as well as Liv and Rhea, and just like that, the champs have their heat back. Great ruse. That's all there is to say on that. That's really all there is to say there. Then we had the Raw Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. She cuts a promo, addressing that brutal attack on Bianca Belair. And this definitely got us to talking over the weekend in our forum chat. I think what's going on with Bianca is a storyline thing. I think it's a storyline injury. And I think there's a very realistic chance they may hold her off until WrestleMania, like MF suggested on the show last week. And but in all honesty, Becky and Bianca need a strong go-home segment. I mean, it was a good promo, and the match is going to be strong, but it just doesn't feel like they found their groove with this storyline, perhaps in part to both women missing shows during the build to this. And hopefully we'll get some sort of strong go-home segment next week in Pittsburgh. So, it was your typical Becky heel promo. So, not much more to say here. Then we move on. United States Heavyweight Champion Finn Balor versus Austin Theory, with special guest commentator and making his first ever appearance on Monday Night Raw, Pat McAfee. I'll let MF have his fun when we get to him. But nonetheless, winner of the match, 7 minutes and 55 seconds. Finn Balor with a small package gets the 1, 2, 3. Michael Bullock, well, business has picked up. Pat McAfee on Raw and helps Finn Balor pick up a win over his WrestleMania opponent in 7:55.
Yeah, 2.5 stars is my rating on the match. I mean, this was a fine match, but man, Pat McAfee really makes this entertaining, especially on commentary, and he basically continues to get under the skin of Austin Theory, basically doing it leading up to their match at WrestleMania. So, yeah, I mean, 2.5 stars. Well, D.D. Woodson, let's just say Pat McAfee is really getting under the skin of Austin Theory, and rightly deserving of doing that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All in all, I thought this was a solid match. And, it was good to see McAfee out there, because this is continuing that feud that they have going with McAfee and Theory. And yeah, it was, there was a lot of solid action on here. But yeah, it was good to see everything that went on. And I don't have anything negative to say. I agree with Bullock's rating, so it's yours, Florio.
Yeah, I'm right there. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. All right. While both of the competitors in this match are fantastic athletes who can go as long as they need to, this whole segment was more about pushing Theory's feud with Pat McAfee than anything else. Not necessarily a bad thing, but it led to the match feeling more chaotic than it needed to be. McAfee kept trying to get involved in the match until Balor was able to win with a small package. The match itself was pretty average for these two guys, but McAfee's hilarious antics made it a lot more entertaining. And that's part of my notable takeaways. McAfee brought up the energy just by being on commentary for a couple of minutes. And the way McAfee taunted Theory was so childish that it ended up being hilarious. And the inside cradle, small package, whatever you want to call it, continues to be one of the most dangerous moves in professional wrestling. But I digress. So that's all there is to say on that. So 2.5, 2 3/4. MF Pat McAfee doing it for the brand.
Yeah, doing it for the brand and having me just absolutely just laughing my head off, man. For once, I was thoroughly entertained on Monday Night Raw thanks to Pat McAfee, man. That's all I'm gonna say about that. He started swinging the arms like a freaking orangutan. For heaven's sakes, had me going, man. I was laughing my head off the whole time. He was being that little pest, that little pain in the butt that I know he does, and everything else. And I love how Corey Graves was all talking about Zito and all the boys and for the Pat McAfee show. So it was excellent. It was funny. And as a matter of fact, in real life, Corey Graves and Pat McAfee are actually good friends. So they're actually legit good friends. So they know each other really well. So, I mean, yeah. And McAfee just being that stooge that he is, just trying to get under the skin of Austin Theory enough. But the thing is, Austin started this, guys. You remember when he slapped the headset off of McAfee, saying that he was going to be his opponent at WrestleMania, and then it just spiraled. So yeah, and the thing is that Pat McAfee is authentic. He is real, and I know for a fact that WWE was a little concerned putting McAfee on USA because he kind of got himself in trouble with his promo on Friday. I actually heard he got a little bit of a talking to by Mr. McMahon, for real, guys, because of him talking about professional wrestling and then also throwing a little hay at the USA Network. So yeah, McAfee unfortunately got thrown into the principal's office. He actually alluded to it earlier today on the Pat McAfee show that you guys can see right here on YouTube.com /the Pat McAfee show. Or if you are a fan of Sirius, I think it's Mad Dog. It's Mad Dog Sports, which is, I think it's channel 82. That's where you can see that 12 to 3 on that. But if you watch the YouTube show, they do tend to like to go a little overtime on that one. So that's why you get to see that one. So, yeah, McAfee doing his thing, loving it. The only thing is that, as you notice, he's coming out to the traditional SmackDown theme, the Are You Ready? That's not his actual theme, folks. His actual theme, if you're in the WWE arenas, is, if you do know, Seven Nation Army. That's his theme coming to the ring. So nothing more to say. Hopefully they'll do the Seven Nation Army for WrestleMania, because oh my God, that place would be jumping if McAfee gets that theme. But I enjoyed it. 2.5 stars. This was a good match. The only reason why I'm punishing it a little bit, McAfee got involved in the match, even though he didn't touch Austin Theory. But you could tell McAfee was out there to being a pest, being a problem, which he was literally all that and then some. But at the end of the day, it was fine for what it was worth. I don't think Balor wins anything on this tonight. I think McAfee steals the spotlight, which, okay, fine, no problem. But obviously, if you're the United States Heavyweight Champion, you also need momentum going into WrestleMania because it looks like you are possibly, you most likely will be battling and facing off with Damian Priest. So even though I don't think it's officially yet, but you kind of have it's kind of almost predicted or expected that we'll see Damian Priest versus Finn Balor for the United States Heavyweight Championship, possibly maybe night 2 at WrestleMania, because they haven't announced anything as of yet. So we don't know. So we'll see. Anthony, back to you.
Yeah, and there's no question about it. Pat McAfee is going to be entertaining as hell come WrestleMania. I mean, not just with that match, but I can only imagine how awesome he's going to be on commentary for those SmackDown matches. And one in particular, which MF and I talked about the other night on our special Saturday night Cerebral Smack Talk. But if you want to know what we're talking about, go to MF's channel, Raceway 95, and look that up. So, but anywho, let's get back into this. Non-title match, Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro versus the Alpha Academy. And RK Bro win the match, 7 minutes and 45 seconds. And Didi Woodson, as we start with you, it's now a triple threat match now. It's now going to be RK Bro, Street Profits, Alpha Academy, Raw Tag Team titles on the line at Mania.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be. This was a good match to lead into getting the hype for WrestleMania. I'm going to probably give it about 2.5 stars. There was a lot of good action between Orton and Riddle, and some really good spots that they did. With Gable and Otis, these four worked pretty well off of each other. So, yeah, I'm not going to add a whole lot. I thought this was a fair match. So it's yours, Florio.
Definitely. This was a warm up match for the champions. Otis and Chad Gable controlled the early minutes of the bout with fundamental tag team tactics, used quick tags to keep themselves fresh and double team moves to keep their opponents on defense. Of course, nothing lasts forever. Once the Viper got the hot tag, he was all over Chad Gable. Riddle was able to get the win, but Otis took out both members of RK Bro after the match. Street Profits came out to stop the attack, but then they just ended up taking out everyone to be the last men standing. And it's funny, every single time Gable yells, "Look at that face," before he kisses Otis on the cheek. Orton's rope hung DDT, the Viper, or as MF and I call it, the Viper DDT, almost as over with the crowd as the RKO. German suplex counter spot Riddle and Gable hit was awesome. Montez Ford is not a human. That is the only explanation for his ridiculous agility. Mere mortals are not capable of such things. And in the final takeaway, but this is the takeaway that I always bring up every week when it comes to Chad Gable, and I'm going to be honest with you. His little shoosh and thank you just it's starting to grow on me. It's really starting to grow on me now. And that's starting to slowly but surely become a running gag for myself and Bullock during our Raw chats here. So there is no question about this. This was another 2.5 to 2 3/4 star match. But MF, we wanted it. We got it. Alpha Academy has been added. It's now a triple threat at Mania.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be an excellent match, too. This was a good match here tonight. I'll give this about 2.5 stars. But then you also get a very decent looking match that's setting up for WrestleMania, a triple threat. We kind of knew that this was probably where it was going to go. And now there's a couple of avenues. Even though I do believe RK Bro is the favorite going in, I don't know if they're walking out with the belts. That's the only thing. And of course, with Randy Orton about to make history yet again at WrestleMania, it's going to be a remarkable event for him. But now the question is, does he pull it off? Does he successfully defend the title? We're going to have to wait and see. All we know is that it's going to be one heck of a night, to say the very least. So really nothing more to add, Anthony, or actually say, Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, this was about another 2.5-star match. I mean, it was a good match and definitely builds towards that triple threat tag team match for the titles at Mania. So yeah, and obviously with the Street Profits basically attacking afterwards, and it definitely gives them the momentum since they stood tall over both competitors. So yeah, we're definitely gonna wait and see how that all goes. So Florio, back to you.
All right. So, all right. So, just checking over my stuff here. All right, here we go. And of course, what's a Monday Night Raw without 24/7 silliness? And yes, they had the cojones or the you know what to pull the 24/7 nonsense in Chicago, IWC capital of the world, and of course they poo-pooed all over it. What were you expecting? Dana Brooke and Reggie versus Akira Tozawa and Tamina tornado tag match. Dana Brooke and Reggie win the match 1 minute and 5 seconds. And as expected, the live crowd was beyond quiet for this match. It's as if they've seen this, this joke before. So, we're not gonna, we are not gonna even dignify that. We only dignify 24/7 stuff if, something out of the ordinary happens, and we've seen it, but not tonight. Before we get into the main event, WWE loaded up next Monday's Go Home show for Pittsburgh. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are going to be in Pittsburgh on Raw next week. It's about time we got some build for this match on Raw. A great majority of it has been on SmackDown, but I'm glad we're finally getting some Raw build here. About damn time. Street Profits will square off against the Alpha Academy. 8-woman tag team match. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, Sasha Banks, and Naomi squaring off against the women's tag team champions Queen Zelina and Carmella, along with Natalya and Shayna Basler, and The Miz with Logan Paul in his corner versus Rey Mysterio with Dominic Mysterio in his corner. So all that and more next Monday night for the go home to WrestleMania edition of Monday Night Raw from the PPG Paints Arena in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Pittsburgh Penguins, of course. And that leads us to the main event of the evening, the phenomenal AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. Winner of the match via disqualification, 22 minutes and 45 seconds. And keeping his match with Edge at WrestleMania, it is the phenomenal AJ Styles. It was Edge. Edge hits Styles from behind with a steel chair, and it warrants it. He attacked AJ Styles. So technically, Seth Rollins was disqualified. So AJ keeps his match with Edge, and Seth Rollins, what happened after, let's just say, he channeled his inner 1997 Bret Hart. That's all I'm going to say. He channeled his inner 1997 Bret Hart on this. All right, now, I know Michael Bullock, always preaches about the NA rule and all this, but I'm sorry. No NA rule, Bullock, with all due respect. Let's waive the NA rule for this one time, because this was the fight of the night. This was still a 4 1/4, teetering on 4.5 star match. This was the fight of the night, and wow. All right. They started off with a steady pace as they used some standard holds and counters. They kept it simple for a few minutes until they started picking up the pace. And as you would expect, with two world-class competitors, they had great chemistry and used it to put on a fun bout. It had all of the usual technical precision and high spots we have come to expect from these guys. As is usually the case with bouts like this, the second half was a lot more exciting than the first. They were pulling everything they could out of their bag of tricks to put the other away. It was big move after big move for a couple minutes without a lot of room between them to recover. As Styles prepared to hit the phenomenal forearm, Edge came out of nowhere, nailed him with a steel chair to cause the disqualification. This secures Styles' spot at Mania since he was declared the winner. The finish is something a lot of fans will complain about, but 99% of this match was awesome. Seth Rollins grabbed the mic and said Raw will not happen next week unless he gets his WrestleMania moment. And then the show ends with him tearing apart the ringside area. Goodbye ringside announce table, steal the ring posts, you name it. Rollins absolutely blows his top. Now, oh yes, I've got some notable takeaways from this. Couple questions here. First question, most important question. What in the bluest of blue hells did AJ Styles do to deserve a possible punishment of losing his spot at WrestleMania? Nobody ever explained that. And question two, Rollins should come up with a new name for the pedigree since he uses it so much now. Any suggestions on that? The way AJ Styles hit the turnbuckle at one point sounded brutal because his leg made contact with the hollow LED ring post and added to the noise. Seth Rollins' super kick to counter the phenomenal forearm looked great. It conjured up a flashback of when Shawn Michaels hit that sweet chin music on Shelton Benjamin on that Raw in 05. And nobody sells getting tripped in the middle of a springboard better than AJ Styles. This was 4.25 to 4.5 stars. This was the fight of the night. And MF, Seth Rollins. 1997 Bret Hart, anyone?
Oh yeah. I mean, Seth, I have to say it. Some of it got away. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a couple of times where he said it and the hot mic got it, so he definitely swore. He said the full word, and the bleeper button was not quick enough to stop Seth Rollins there. He was mad. He had every right to be angry more than anything else. But the thing is that he's doing anything he can to be at WrestleMania. That's exactly what you know. Sometimes you make those crazy assumptions. You try to make those moves. You try to do anything that's possible to try to get them to be a part of WrestleMania. And look, at this point in the game, it's all, you go for it. You try to make the most of it. You try to everything in your power to get to WrestleMania. And look, Seth he's desperate enough to go for anything to get on the show now. And that's trying to steal the segment from his own best friend, to try to steal the KO show from his own best friend. Now he tries to steal the spot of AJ Styles to get to WrestleMania to fight Edge. Now, I mean, he's basically desperate to do whatever it takes to get on the show. And, at the end of the day, look, you can say whatever you want to say about Rollins' method, but you hear it with the crowd. Rollins is over. So for him to get that opportunity, for all this to happen, and you're hearing the crowd, Cody, 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 Cody. They know what's about to happen. We know what's about to happen. So obviously they are setting up for Rollins versus Cody Rhodes. The thing is, when's Rhodes showing up? Is it next week in Pitt? Or do they take the gamble and wait till Mania for him to show up? Because it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, Now it's a matter of when. But if Rollins is threatening that he's going to hold the show hostage the whole night, they're going to have to tip the hand now. That means possibly next week in Pitt, we're going to see the arrival of Cody Rhodes, but not anything physical as of yet. And then they'll probably do the match at Mania. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But that's all that we can say right now. This was 4.5 stars, fight of the night. I'm a little disappointed with the ending, even though it does fit the narrative. And that's exactly what it needed it to be. And that is Edge being the ultimate opportunist, trying to get another leg up on AJ Styles, but in the process, he screws over Seth Rollins and denies him his opportunity at WrestleMania. So nothing more to say. Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, 4.5, hands down. I mean, this was definitely the fight of the night. Yeah, the finish did rub me the wrong way, but it served its purpose, like you said, with Edge basically making sure this match goes on and literally screwing Seth Rollins. And yeah, we all know Cody Rhodes, he's going to show up. Are they going to wait till next week? Or are they going to wait till Mania? Only time will tell. So, nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it's yours.
I think they're probably going to wait till Mania to pull the trigger. I mean, you don't want to throw all your cards out before the big show. You want to have some sort of a surprise to happen, and that would be a really big one to have Cody Rhodes walk out that night and be the opponent for Seth Rollins. But we'll have to wait and see what happens next week. Yeah, this is definitely the match of the night. I agree with the rating. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the DQ finishes, but this was, in a way, a means to a necessary end, because you want to maintain what you already have booked, and we're still building this storyline for Seth Rollins. So this was kind of necessary to have it in this way. So yeah, I have nothing else to say about it. So it's yours, Florio.
All right, overall review time. Good old MF Michael Fletcher starts it off. Penultimate Monday Night Raw in Chicago. How do we do?
Penultimate edition, Monday Night Raw. Now one show officially away from WrestleMania. You did well. This was a good show. I mean, this was a solid, I could say about maybe 7 out of 10. Look, there were a couple of moments on Raw where it just didn't really matter. I don't think anybody would have really cared too much. The Kevin Owens thing at the beginning was amazing. The main event at the end was amazing. There was a couple of good, solid stuff in the middle. But all in all, I thought it was an all right show. 7 out of 10. Bullock, go.
Yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, this was a good show. I mean, there were some things that I could have done without, but all the other things I thought were good. So now they gotta make sure they deliver next week, since this is the final Raw before WrestleMania. So guys got some work to do. So, but I'm sure they'll be able to pull it off. So nothing more to say. Dee Woodson, it is yours. 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. It was a good show. Bookends were great, beginning, end. A few spots in the middle that were solid. But then, you still have some of the shenanigans, like the 24/7 nonsense, and the Miz pulling his BS. But yeah, it was a fairly good show. Surprisingly, kind of enjoyed it, but it is what it is. So hopefully we have a really good go home show for next week. So we'll see what happens. So it's yours, Florio, and good night.
All right, good night, Dee Dee. We'll see you again soon. And for me, it's Tony's take time, and let's get into it. Impact Wrestling starts it off as always, and we started it off with the Switchblade, Jay White, teaming up with Chris Bay against the Motor City Machine Guns. Whether you like Jay White or not, how can you not get excited about a tag team match of this caliber? Jay White and Chris Bay against Motor City Machine Guns on free television? Let's go. Winners of the match, 12 minutes, 38 seconds, the Motor City Machine Guns. This was the second best fight of the night. 3 3/4 of a star. Sweet match. The finish was a bit odd. Not sure if it was intended to be a huge close call to set up a rematch. That's most likely the case, but for now it feels like a tough loss for Jay White and Chris Bay. Looking forward to the rematch if we get it down the road. Steve Macklin one-on-one with Rhino. Steve Macklin wins the match, 9 minutes, 50 seconds. Solid 3-star match. I wasn't expecting that, but I really liked it. Rhino's clearly getting older, but he was more than capable in this spot and helps give Macklin a legitimate win. I really enjoy how they went to the finish after the crowd started to chant for Rhino to go for the gore. Also nice to get a couple of back-to-back long matches to start the show. Larry D against Bupinder Gujjar. Gujjar wins the match. 5 minutes, 55 seconds, 2.5 stars. Decent match, but the crowd wasn't looking to help out much at all as there were a lot of fans behind Larry D, not the babyface. Gujjar is pretty cool and slowly growing on me. His finish was cool this week as it came out of nowhere and was well done. So we're not going to get much more into that. And then from there, the Champ challenge, Deonna Purrazzo, defending both the Ring of Honor Women's title and the Reina de Reinas Championship in a triple threat match against Giselle Shaw and Lady Frost. Deonna Purrazzo wins the match, 6 minutes and 8 seconds, 1 3/4 of a star. They made the best of this match. I really wonder why Shaw is the woman they're giving this time to, as she consistently has some pretty obvious botches in her matches and seems a bit reckless in the ring. Deonna winning and continuing to be champ makes sense until they eventually have her challenge for the Knockouts title again. And then we had Jonah against Zicky Dice. Jonah in 30 seconds. Short, sweet, and to the point. Delicious squash. Masha Slamovich against Aerie. Masha Slamovich in a minute. Another short, sweet, to the point match. I like seeing Masha make quick work of her opponents, but I wouldn't mind seeing her in a longer feud match sooner than later. Main event of the evening, Josh Alexander versus Honor No More's Matt Taven. Maria Kanellis on commentary. I don't have a time of the fall, but the winner of the match was Josh Alexander. But this was the fight of the night. 4 stars. Really great back and forth. There were multiple times I really thought Taven could have won it, even though it makes the most sense for Josh to win. I'm not at all mad at the finish, and I'm really excited to see more of Matt Taven in Impact because this was an awesome match from him. And then after the match, then we thought the show was over, but no. We talk about WWE going there. Well, Impact Wrestling went there. The World Heavyweight Champion Moose shows up at Josh Alexander's house with his wife and small son. And it has the contract for their upcoming World Heavyweight Championship match at the Rebellion pay-per-view next month. Whew. Wow. 8 out of 10, and I'm going to be honest with you, this was an 8 out of 10 show, and I can honestly say this was the best Impact of 2022 as of right now. By far. I mean, the pacing of the show was great. Opened with 2 awesome matches, closed with another awesome one. 2 solid, delicious squashes. A few matches I wasn't fond of, but nothing is perfect. Overall, great show. And Impact continues to build some momentum with great shows. And I don't know what else there is for me to to add to that. So let's see if there's. I just want to check real quick and see if there's anything on the table. If they have anything on the table for the next. Yep, we do. Just bear with me a minute here. All right. 2 matches have been announced. It'll be Tasha Steelz defending the Knockouts Championship against Mickie James in a street fight. And the Impact World Tag Team titles will be on the line. Eric Young and Joe Doring of Violent by Design versus the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson in a lumberjack match. So that's all I have for Thursday night's Impact on Access TV, 8 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. on YouTube, and commercial free for all you Impact Wrestling Insider members out there. So that's that. And one last order of business, and that is NXT Level Up from Friday night. Get into that quick, and then we'll call it a night here. All right. Started off with Zion Quinn versus Damon Kemp. And Zion Quinn in 5 minutes and 24 seconds. Decent. They kept it basic. Then they hit each other hard. I enjoyed it. Quinn has a good look and presence to him. 2 stars. Lash Legend versus Valentina Feroz. Lash Legend in 4:53. Nice surprise as Feroz was full of fire and they told a story as old as time with Big versus Little. They had me buying the submission at the end, but Legend is too powerful, gets the win. Crowd was way into this, actually. 2.5 stars. Sleeper fight of the night. Bodie Hayward of Chase U going up against Dante Chen. Dante Chen in 5:57. Bit boring and a distraction fluke win for Chen. Not the best matches to close it. 1.5. 6 out of 10. Main event put a damper on this one and nearly drug it into below average rating, but I enjoyed the women's match quite a bit. Certainly one of the better matches since the rebrand. Open was kind of there, but showed some promise. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as the late great Meatloaf once sang. So 6 out of 10 for this. So that's it. That will put the bow on this latest edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. As always, we'll be back with you Wednesday night over on MF's channel for the premiere edition of yet another new show under our new banner. And it's going to be from now on entitled Wednesday Night Madness. And it'll be the same show as we've been doing. Hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, as we will review NXT 2.0, AEW Dynamite, as always. Thursday, strictly sports, or not strictly sports. Even now I'm doing it now. All right. I knew it was going to catch up to me eventually. TXN Sports World. That's our new banner for the sports show. It's going to be almost similar to last week's show, only it's with different names. I mean, big names in the NFL, big names in Major League Baseball. And get this, we're even going to add the NHL to this because there were some big moves in the NHL as well. And then from there, in the main event, it will be our continuing coverage of the NCAA tournament. Maybe some bonus commentary if it's called for. We'll see. And then Friday night, back in our normal time, it is the Cerebral Smack Talk, hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher, 11 p.m. Friday night SmackDown AEW Rampage. And then 1 week from tonight, we start WrestleMania week. Ridiculously Raw. Wednesday Night Madness after that. And in place of TXN Sports World, next Thursday night, the 31st, we're going to have a special edition exclusively known. It's going to be our first ever special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, as we are going to preview NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver and the 2-night stupendous WrestleMania 38. We will not have a show the next night, the Friday night, April 1st. We're taking that night off so we can enjoy the WWE Hall of Fame induction ceremony. A certain panelist, Michael Bullock, and all of us, as we will watch in awe as his man, The Undertaker, takes his rightful place in the WWE Hall of Fame, along with the man they call Vader and Queen Sharmell and whoever else they announce. So that's it. Apologies for those little slips. I'll do my best to make sure those don't happen again. So with that will put the bow on this. So until Wednesday night, for the premiere edition of Wednesday Night Madness over on MX channel, Brace Bay 95, Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF, Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the Phenom, Michael Bullock, and of course the first lady of Talking Wrestling TXN, that being Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody, as always. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night, for Wednesday Night Madness, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And as we always say, don't forget, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.